Welcome to this next edition of the What Else Is New podcast. And it's taken me 5,000 podcasts, but I think I'm getting the name right now. So in this one, I got Chris Henning, and this is kind of a continuation. I've got kind of a podcast going on with the different members of my staff and different people that work with me and for me. In fact, I'm going to get the media people in here. So I've already had Tristan in here for one, but I'll get Mason, I'll get Clayton in here to do one. And they're sitting behind the camera right now. They're nervous now. They're antsy. Like, what are they talking to me about?
Well, they're both extremely interesting guys. I think we should start with Mason.
I don't know. Well, we'll see. I don't know. They both scare me, so we'll see. So I may put him on camera. I might just freak him out. Might break everything here. Anyway, so in this one, this is kind of a double one here with Chris Henning. So before we go on, I'm going to introduce Chris Henning. This is Chris Henning. Now he has many different titles in our company, as everybody does. But he's actually this chief operating officer of our company. So that's number one. He's a chief operating officer of our company, but he's also the marketing manager of our company. So he runs runs the marketing. He runs the marketing of the company, works with our marketing department and our group here. And then the other thing is that and Chris is, and big deal with him, and that we'll talk more about this, is really kind of took over the fitness flexibility portion, the nutrition and exercise portion of our company. In the past couple of years, we had the 7 principles of golf improvement. What's, develop a sound, repeatable swing of each, develop a great short game, become a great putter, learn course management, things like that. And then we added the, fitness and flexibility portion because it became such an important deal. And we knew that, but we saw how much our clientele needed it. But before we get there, we'll talk about that. Tell them what you do. Tell them where your little history of your background, where you're from, what you did. So Chris Henning, who is Chris Henning? So who is Chris Henning?
Yeah. So, born in Oklahoma, raised in Oklahoma, went to high school, in Oklahoma, went to college in Arizona.
Oh, wow. Okay. So Oklahoma, okay, gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Played college football, came back home. And then I decided, really I was a decent amateur golfer. And then I just got the crazy idea. I wanted to get into the PGA program. So I went up, I spoke to David Brock at Oak Tree Country Club. Right. I just walked in there and said, hey, this is what I want to do. Right. And he says, all right, you're hired. Okay. So he got me into the program and started doing that. And then a couple of years, I needed to actually make some serious money.
That wasn't the place to do it.
Yeah. I had a child. I think I was making $24,000 a year.
That was probably high for most assistant pros at the time.
Yeah, it was pretty high. Right. And then I got into the tech world. Okay. And
so you left the golf world.
The golf world.
2 years in the golf world. You didn't get your PGA. I know that. So, but you left the golf world. So
left the golf world. Okay. And got into tech, and then just from being super active to not being active at all, and even it was weird because I was out in the sun all day long.
Right. Well, it's a golf pro. Yep.
And then when I got under the fluorescent lights, it started to play tricks on my, so I'd take my laptop outside just so I could adapt to the lighting. But I gained weight on that. And then I said, enough of that. I'm going to get my health and fitness back. I've always been into that. Okay. And then I had a buddy that was also at Oak Tree, and he's actually finally finishing his PGA after 30 years now. It's like unfinished business for him. So he's doing that. But we started a business, online golf coaching, just like what we do here. Right. And we did that for about 10 years. Okay. And we just got too busy with it. And one day I was just, after being in tech, I got out of tech, and I sent an email to Thomas and said, hey, I'd like to work here. Kind of like my Oak Tree thing. Right. He brought me in, and I think I was hired that day. Right. So it was like the easiest job interview I've ever had.
Well, you had golf history, you understood tech, you understood the social media, you understood media, you understood the advertising, which is very unique in the industry. People, I don't think you realize how unique that is, because it is fascinating. I couldn't even start to name the number of people we've hired that we've brought in that we're good at tech. We're good at, like when we look at advertising, looking at social media, looking at different ways to market, but they didn't know anything about golf, and then much less anything about us.
Yeah.
And so they come in here and all of a sudden you're 6 months or a year into it and you're realizing we're very unique in the golf industry, but they don't understand that, or they don't even understand golf at all.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden they're putting us in the same channels as everybody else. Like, no, you're swimming up a river. You can't swim up, it's not going to work.
I mean, I couldn't ask for a better place with a more unique story and the positioning of this. This is not like an average golf company.
Oh, it's not.
This is a marketer's dream.
And, it's funny. The people that come in here they'll sit here for a few months with us or maybe longer, and they'll say, okay, they'll understand our story. They'll understand our history. And then they'll come to us and go, you guys have like a cult following.
Yeah.
We're like, you're understanding this.
Yeah.
And the ones that don't understand that, it's like, we're like, nah, you're not going to make it. So.
Yeah. And that's the goal, is to continue to grow the cult.
Yeah.
And you guys are in the cult right now. I hate to tell you.
Yeah. It can be a good thing. I mean, everybody sees these as a bad thing.
It's a good thing. It's a good, positive cult.
Right. So tell them right now. So I probably botched the crap out of it, but so what are your responsibilities with Graves Golf? So you only answer to me and Todd. That's basically it. So what are your responsibilities at Graves Golf?
Well, so every day, my day starts at 0. Yeah. Like a big goose egg. Right. And I wake up and I look at all the stats. And if we have a couple of sales, I'm like, yes. If we have a big goose egg, I start to sweat a little bit. So that's how my day starts. And I tried primarily to drive in leads so our team can, close deals and make us money so we can continue to grow the cult.
Right. Because it's a very expensive undertaking that we have here that I don't think people, and they don't need to know, but I don't think they understand the expense, the day-to-day expense here. I mean, when you got between 30 and 40 employees and you got subcontractors out there, it's really funny how people come to me and they're like, why don't you hold a school in Chicago? Why don't you hold a school in Connecticut? Why don't you hold a school in Virginia? Why don't you hold a school in Northern California? And I'm like, okay, there's another instructor. There's another $40,000, $50,000 a year. There's another guy who's got to travel. We got to make this guy live. We got to tramp. We got to make sure this guy's got 25 or 30 sites to teach at. We got to make sure this guy, it just doesn't happen like, okay, let's just bop in a plane and go do this. It's anything but that, is it?
Yeah. And even if we did have a location up there and didn't have a guy up there, we got to go up there.
Yeah.
And then we got a big truck and we got a big trailer full of our stuff.
On this end, everything that we do day to day, which our guys are already working 12, 15-hour days, comes to a halt. So they just get further and further behind. Yeah. Yeah,
absolutely. It's almost like, it reminds me of like, a rock band.
Yeah, no, it is.
Like when you go on the tours and stuff, you got to take all your equipment with you. And we've got a lot of stuff for these schools.
No, and we used to say that, we used to hire actually roadies. We used to hire guys to set up in the schools, and we did. They'd go out there and just set it up because people don't realize it's not just throwing a bucket of balls down and hitting. I mean, it's not. Yeah. Especially the technology this day and age, it's not to give somebody a good experience at a school or an event. Okay, so that's kind of what you do with what we do with Graves Golf, and that's kind of the little nutshell of what your history was. But so here's the question for you, because we've kind of turned you into we didn't turn you into it. You were, because of your history and what you did and the years experience in the past. And it's really cool that you did the coaching you did in golf for up to our point. A lot of it was the fitness, flexibility, exercise coaching, as you saw. Yeah. And now when you deal with our demographic, the average age is over 50 years of age, or older. And even the younger demographic still needs to work on this, but Chris has always had an incredible interest in fitness and flexibility, fitness and exercise. So much so that you guys see a lot of the videos that he shoots for our company done in his garage. He literally has a studio set in his garage. It's a pretty amazing studio.
It's even better now. Yeah. I've made some improvements.
It's awesome. It's an amazing studio.
My wife hates it.
But so let's talk about this. So we brought him in. And when I found this out after a while, I said, hey, let's start shooting some videos on this. Let's start talking about this. And you went out and became TPI certified again. Now, I did this years ago. In fact, I think it's like 16 years ago now, but you just recently did it. And let's talk about what that is. So it's TPI certified. So it's Titleist Performance Institute, but describe what that is, what you went through, and what that's all about. Yeah.
So it's really college level program. The test is actually very challenging. The newest one was, I had to study for it. Right. And luckily I passed it.
So what is it? What is the TPI? So they're just known as initials. They don't know what TPI stands for. What is TPI?
So it's based on assessments. Right. So we look at the whole of the golfer, and then we figure out what's going on, where they have tightness, where they have muscle weakness, where they have muscle imbalances, all kinds of different things.
It's 100% assessment of movement of the body and flexibility of the body compared to a golf swing. So, because you could have a TPI of the baseball, of throwing a baseball. It's always revolved around the kinematic sequence, which is movement. Kinematic sequence is how you throw a golf ball, how you kick a soccer ball, how you hit a golf ball. I mean, there's a sequence involved in the swing or in the movement. And what the TPI is Dr. Glenn Rose put this together 100 years ago. It's amazing. He's a genius. But basically what he did is he went out and he went and got many, many touring pros. And he said, okay, and he tested them. And he said, okay, how much can you bend your wrist? How much can you flex your knees? How much can you stand on one foot? How much can you bend at your waist? And he put a number to it. And then what he said is, okay, if you want to get to this level, you need to be able to do this. And he basically equated all the movements from the wrists to the elbows, the shoulders, to the hips, the knees. And so he put a number to it, which is really cool. Well, when I went 15 to 20 years ago, I went through this program and it wasn't as advanced as now. It gets more advanced every year that you went through. But I went and turned that into single plane, because I took that information and said, okay, you don't have to turn your hips as much. You still have to turn them, but not as much. You don't have to, have the early extension. We don't even promote early extension. The traditional golf does. But so I went and said, okay, this is how it works with a single plane. So I took that information, put the single plane. And you went in there and did both. You went and got the new version of it, and then also study the single plane version of it. Okay.
Yeah. And the stuff you guys did way back then is still very applicable to today. It's amazing how similar it is. And based on those numbers too, those numbers are unattainable for 98% of the people out there, but they just give you baselines, and then you can measure yourself against that. But
the beauty of it is you can take and you can measure different areas of the body. Like you can look at knee flexibility. You can look at hip flexibility, wrist flexibility, shoulder movement, whatever it is. And you can say, okay, let's test these 6 areas or these 8 areas, whatever it is. And you can sit there and say, okay, that's your weakest. Go work on that. That's your second weakest. Go work on that. And you can give them exercises to go work on those areas. Am I right?
Yeah, precisely. Right. I mean, that's exactly what we do.
This is the number one reason why, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, that so many of our students can't hit or can't get the golf swing they want. Because they can, and I want you to talk about that for a second, because obviously you're more of a guru in this than I am. But people always say, what's the magic bullet? What's the magic cure? There's got to be something you're not telling us. There's something that's hidden that, the secret sauce. Go ahead.
Yeah. The secret is never stop moving. Move as much as you can. Try to get your, maintain your range of motion that you have right now. But, what we're going to be doing with single plane is just like Todd's checkpoints, your checkpoints is we'll just go through the sequencing of it. And that's how we'll do our assessments. And that's coming down the road. Right. I don't want to spoil anything, but that's coming down the road. But yeah, it's been an eye opener because me and my buddy, when we had our thing, we had a much younger clientele, and these guys were all about distance, and we almost rarely saw the C posture, which is that.
Right. The C posture, see the C spine in the back.
And I see that a lot with the single plane golfers. And that's the beginning of the kinematic sequence, right? And if you can't maintain your posture, we've got problems.
Right. So this last year, it was actually 2 years ago, but then we did it again this last year. We did the Fast Forward program over the winter. And the Fast Forward program usually is basically October, November, December, January, February program. And it's a program that the first week we do flexibility and fitness. The first week we did full swing. The second week we did short game. Third week we did flexibility and fitness, and the fourth week we did mental game. So what we do is we give you a couple of drills to work on. Go to this over the winter, all stuff you can do. And obviously, doing flexibility and fitness work over the winter is phenomenal. But this last winter, it was the first time we did this. We allowed the members at the program could send in videos to you, and they could talk to you or email you in videos and send in videos. It's okay. What do you see? What do I need to work on? Am I right? And you got a lot of videos in from the members. Okay. So without going over individually, in like a broad sense, tell me what you kind of saw. So this is because it's pretty, you see a lot of the same thing. Okay. Trust me, if you're out there thinking you're unique and no, I'm different, chances are there's 95% chance you're not. Okay. So talk about what you saw. What were the typical things you saw?
So the three things that I saw just off the top of my head were a weak posterior chain, which is
So when you set up
C posture,
it looks like a C posture. It looks like you're bent over.
Yep.
Okay.
That was number one.
Which if you have that, you won't be able to swing the club back freely. Your arms get caught up in your chest. You won't be able to get back through impact. It's going to cost you tons of distance and accuracy.
I mean, you're just behind the eight ball on that one.
You're trapped up. You're trapped. You can't get your arms away from your body.
Yeah. So we've got to loosen the front side and strengthen the back side, pulling things like that, core. Okay. The second thing I saw was wrist flexibility, not just this, but right here.
So they not only up and down, but also the other way. So actually, okay. So not only the wrist hinge, but the wrist cock.
Yeah, the deviations of the wrist.
Right.
Yeah.
So now, if you have improper wrist hinge or deviations of the wrist, number one, that's impact. That's early release of the club. That is not holding a chipping position. I mean, unless we can go from chipping to pitching, no way you can have a good bunker.
Kills your power. Kills your power.
The top that people, what they don't want to hear out there. No, so like I just said right now, you won't chip it well, you won't pitch it well. You're not going to have any bunker game at all, but it'll wipe out power. I mean,
absolutely.
Release of power. In fact, that's a high percentage of your power is the release of that.
Yeah. And we gave mobility and stretches on that. And then the third thing I saw was the hip complex. A lot of you, and then a lot of this is tied to a very tight posterior chain, tight calves, tight and weak hamstrings, glutes that aren't being activated, but the inability to get into what I call the third world squat, which is you just squat all the way to the ground.
Right.
And if you can do that, you'll have no problems with our swing. Right. But most of these guys, they would get stuck above parallel with the thigh on the knees. And right there, we're behind the eight ball again.
So the key on this is a lot of you guys work on whether it's your full swing, short game, whatever it is, but trying to hit the positions in the full swing. You guys know position 1, position 2, position 3. When we talk about the cult following, this is actually the test for being part of the cult. You know what I'm saying? So is knowing these positions and chipping, holding all the checkpoints that have finished position in a chip and things like that. But the problem is if their body will not allow them to hit the positions, what's going to happen? So talk about that for a second. So you're the expert right now. I walk in here and I sit there and say, this gentleman's hips, he needs an 80% range of motion. He's got a 30% range of motion, or he needs a 45 degree flexibility in the wrist. He's only got a 20 degree flexibility in the wrist, whatever it is. When they can't hit, so what's the typical golfer do or student do? If they're not working on fitness or flexibility, what happens when they try to go hit a ball or they go hit? What's going to happen?
The kinematic sequence isn't going to function for them properly because just even their posture at address, like if you can't get that, you have no chance.
Right.
So the goal is, it's almost like Michelangelo carving out of stone a statue, and we have this big square and we know what we want it to be.
Right.
We have this vision in our mind, but it's not quite there yet. And you just have to chip away at this stuff a little bit every single day. So that's what we do in Fast Forward. That's what we do in all our programming.
Let's say a student comes in here and let's say you did test them. Chances are they wouldn't get tested because they wouldn't even think this is important. But let's say you did test them. And let's say their hip flexibility wasn't half as much as they need, or their wrist flexibility or their seat spot. Okay. And so they had these issues, but they didn't go work on them. So they decided, I just want to work on the full swing. I'm not going to take the time. Whatever it is. I don't want to take the time. I'm too lazy. But they didn't go work on these things, but they still wanted to work on the swings. They're out there pounding balls or hitting balls or doing work inside. What's going to happen to them? So tell me what's going to happen. What's going to typically happen to them?
Well, most likely what's going to happen is you're going to get an overuse injury.
Okay.
So by that, I mean, by not able to move properly, you're going to be using muscles that aren't designed to swing the golf club.
Okay.
So what's going to happen is these weaker muscles are trying to assist your bigger muscles that can't move or they're weak.
Right.
And so these weaker muscles will get injured. You'll pull them, you'll tear them, you'll have rotator cuff problems.
So the perfect example of this, and we'll go to is don't move the hips properly, destroy the lower back. So
absolutely.
The lower back all of a sudden you just destroy the lower back because you're not moving this properly.
Yeah, because when you're in that C posture, you can't enjoy the benefit of Mo's swing,
right?
Which is no compression.
Right.
Like you're immediately giving yourself compression.
And if they can't move the wrist properly, they're going to try to overswing the shoulders and destroy the rotator cuffs.
Yeah.
Or I'm not going to say, destroy sounds like a bad word, but over time, like you said, overuse over time.
Eventually they will. Yeah. 100%.
And a lot of these gentlemen and ladies out there, they've done this throughout time and not understanding why they're doing it, but it gets worse as they get older because we don't get more flexible as we go unless we dramatically work on it. We've got to continue to work on it.
I mean, I tell them all the time, if you don't use it, you will lose it. There's a reason a baby can, a 2-year-old toddler can walk around. He can squat down all the way to the ground. Right. He can do anything.
Right.
And then over time, you just lose it.
Right.
It's because you're not doing it.
Right. Right. So let's go. So let's jump one more thing here then. So let's say you have somebody out there right now listening to this right now, and they're listening to the podcast. One of the millions of people listen to this. Okay. And they said, I want to get involved. You've convinced me now. I've heard this before, or I've never heard it before, whatever it is, but you convinced me to start on it. Okay. So they sit there and say, what do I do? What do I do? I'm going to kind of give a little tidbit of what I think they should do. I want you to throw this on. Okay. So number one is I think they've got to go, because this is all on our video. This is, if you go to our single plane on demand app, okay, which is our number one reference, no ifs, ands, or buts about it for our information, our single plane on demand app, Braves Golf on demand app, we have over 10,000 hours of instruction on it. But if I'm going to point on this one, I'm going to highlight the flexibility and exercise DVD that's on there.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I would start right there.
Because the flexibility and exercise DVD that's on there, it's flexibility and exercise. It's I say DVD. It's on the on demand app. Literally covers the 8 different areas of the body that I set up years ago. And like you said, it's still exactly relevant. And it actually gives you a test, okay, on those different areas. It says, go do this, try to do this, try to do this. And if you can pass the test, great. Don't need to work on it. If you can't pass the test, it gives you 3 exercises to go, or just exercises to go to work on.
Yeah. What's great about that video series is you guys actually explain what happens.
Right. Right. You sit there and say, if you do this, this is what's going to happen in your swing. If you can't do this, this is what's going to happen in your swing. If you can't do this, this is what's going to happen in your swing.
Yeah. And it's, we're going to be using a lot of those tests, if not all of them.
So let's say they go do that. Okay. And then, so they go work on there and they say, okay, I found these 3 areas. Okay. And I need some additional help. What can they do now for additional help? So because that is the place you absolutely 100% start on this. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah. The next step from that, by the way, I would keep doing all those.
Oh yeah.
Forever. And I'm serious about that. Like, a lot of people, they come in and are like, oh, well, I'm going to do this for 3 weeks. Right. And then they stop or 3 months. No.
Right.
It's every day.
Right.
Do it every single day. And that alone is going to maintain what you have, but you're gradually, like Michelangelo, you're going to build a nice little, you're going to chip away at it. The next step would be the Fast Forward series, 2023, I think it was. Gosh, has it been that long? Ollie and I did one, and we went position by position.
Right.
And we not only did we give them flexibility stuff, we gave them exercises, like strengthening exercises. Right. So I think you have to do both. I think you have to do the flexibility.
That's on demand also, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yep. And what would be after that? So give me the next thing.
Well, the 2024 edition of Fast Forward, obviously.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, we've had discussions about this upcoming Fast Forward 2025 version of doing something really special on that. I don't know if you want to reveal that just yet.
Well, no, we're guys, we're going to do a Fast Forward this winter. It's one of the most popular things we do in here. And it's for level 3, level 4 members and above. So Single Plane Academy, level 3, level 4 members and above, get this, I'm saying. And they can watch the Fast Forward. It's a great training program. It's a winter training program. You want to know what Fast Forward is? It's our winter training program. It's what it is. And we're going to do more on it this year. And I would suggest this year, because it'd be a really good time. So can they send in video to you? I mean, talk about that for a second.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a level 3 and up, obviously you can send those in. Right. If you're a level 2, just go ahead and jump up. It's not that much. Right. It's like $30 a month more to jump up. I would do that. And you can send videos in and I'll give you some suggestions on it. One caveat, if you're getting sharp pains and your doctor has told you not to do stuff, obviously you got to go speak to that gentleman or the lady first before you come in, because I get a lot of those. I get a lot of emails, almost wanting medical advice. Right. And, you just need to talk to your doctor before you.
Yeah, no, I mean, don't push it to the point where in this severe pain or in this pain, you're thinking, okay, something's wrong here. That you're saying we're going to fix it because we're going to give you exercises. That's not what it is. These are These are maintenance exercises. This is to get you better. This is to take you where you're now and to get you more flexible. But and then anything else you want to talk on that? I mean, that's really, guys, the other thing is we're going to do is that, and I'm going to throw this out. So I will release this early is hopefully you all know about our single plane university now. And what the single plane university is, it's monthly. We're put it out every month. We put it out basically every month. Okay. And what it is, it's a 30-day, between 30 and 45-day training, day to day, step by step training over all different areas of the golf game and golf fitness and everything else. And we've already got one on over driving. We've already got one up over single plane, how to practice, and on range, single plane university range. And then we just released one just recently on single plane university chipping. It's chipping 101. And basically it's step by step on how to create an incredible chipping game, part chipping. We're going to have a single plane university on fitness and flexibility. We're going to have it on there, and Chris will be running this.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really my wheelhouse.
It's already on the section. It's already, we've got 10 more units coming out. So these are we've got next year set up. Because guys, we're not going to go through all this stuff out at once. It's not what this is about. I mean, in golf, people want everything at once. They get overwhelmed. They get nothing. Okay, and that's the way it works. They get everything at once. They get too much. They end up getting nothing or just confused. What you've got to do is you've got to release these units one at a time and then go step by step. And then after it's been released, it's been out, then you can come back and review it and the coach can assign it to you. But I foresee this, which it'll be out soon. It'll be out here in probably next 3 or 4 months. But when this comes out, this will be something that they'll refer to continually. They can always.
Oh, yes, absolutely. The way that they'll be designed is they're going to be progressive, right, like you're talking about. But I got a few tricks up my sleeve, honestly, on this flexibility stuff. So it's pretty advanced stuff, but it's easy to do. But
remember the way the single plane university is set up. It starts with a baseline. So you go give yourself a fun test or fun little drill, and you do it, and you record it. So maybe. So you do it fitness and flexibility and you rate it. Maybe you score a 7 out of 10, 7 out of 20, however Chris sets this up. Okay. And then all of a sudden, then he starts giving you the exercises to work on, the flexibility and the drills to work on. And then a week into it, you go take that testing, the evaluation again. And maybe this time you score an 8 out of 20. So, you're trying to find improvement. And then you do it again. Then you go through it again, another week's worth of training, the week's worth of flexibility work, and you take an evaluation again. So you're constantly doing work evaluations, training evaluations. And as you do this, and finally, when you're done the program, you're going to get inline. You're going to get a final evaluation. Well, let's say you started at 7 out of 20, and now all of a sudden you're up to 12 out of 20. So you've gotten significantly better. That's not good enough for me. I want to do better. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm not only working on not hurting and actually being able to hit my positions, but now I want to go work on distance. So you go through the program again, and now your new baseline is 12 out of 20. We got to get, we want to get higher, and that's what this is all about.
Yeah, I mean. And when you're doing any kind of training, we have this wavy,
right?
Sometimes you call it training.
Right.
So we'll start at the baseline and then we ramp it up and then we finish with power and then we come back down and we start and we just keep going like that. However, with your flexibility stuff, you can do it year round.
Right.
I mean, you're going to be doing it year round when we put this out for you guys.
The biggest thing though, and I'm going to stress this, is that it's not a one size fits all because everybody has their strengths and their weaknesses. Okay. And I can tell you right now, I'll kind of end this here, is that when we started this fast forward program last October, I went into the golf season last year. I did okay last year. I won a few. I did okay. But like normal, you're never doing as well as you want. And when I did the analysis of my game at the end of the year, I realized, okay, I'm almost 60. I was losing distance, and I realized, okay, I liked my accuracy still. I think my short game was pretty good. I think it was a little bit above average. I think good. But if I was looking at the area that I needed to work on the most, was distance for me. And so I went to Chris in the start of the fast forward program. I said, okay, this is what I want. I want distance, Chris. So this is a gear around that. So Chris put me through the assessment. He said, here you go. Let's look at this. Let's look at that. Let's look at this. And what'd you see? What'd you find when you saw that?
You had some limitations on one side of your body.
Right.
And, as we unlock those, he's got more range of motion.
Right.
And that's really the secret. If he can have a bigger range of motion through his joints, ligaments, muscles, all that, and increase that, well, he's got a wider swing arc, right?
Right. It ended up being a wider swing arc. It freed up my arms a little bit more. My glutes were so tight. They got so tight again. I like to ride a lot of bike. My glutes had gotten tight. I hadn't put the focus on I needed. Couldn't even get halfway down and touching my toes. Now I can put my hands on the ground basically. But Chris gave me the exercises through the fast forward program at that time and said, okay, here's what you need to work on. And I've been doing it for 8 months now. And I mean, straight out 100% have gained about between 9 and 11 miles an hour. I mean, depending on the day of the week.
Which is about 30 yards.
About 30 yards. And,
which is, that's a lot.
That's significant. It's very significant. Now, if I went and did the program again, I'm not going to get 30 yards, but I'm going to continue it. Trust me. I'm continuing it because I can lose it. Okay. So I'm obviously going to continue.
That's the secret right there.
Right. But the key is if I went hardcore through the program again, I might gain another 5 or 10 yards. We'll see. But the point is now I'm maintaining that because now I'm pretty happy with that. But the point is that it's a continuation and it's an original assessment with a baseline. And then sitting there saying, okay, this is what we got to do. And it's hyper focus on my weaknesses.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not shocking to see Tim up in the where the coaches hang out doing his routine
I do it all
in
the time.
front of them.
I do it all the time. I mean, they'll be sitting there eating their donuts. It's
like 3:00.
Yeah. I have reminders set up in the phone. So I literally put reminders on my phone saying every 2 or 3 days. Yes, I do this every day, but I do this every 2 or 3 days. And yeah,
I really think that the discipline that Tim has, and that discipline is consistency.
Yeah.
Nothing else. He's not doing anything special. He's not doing anything groundbreaking. It is not difficult. These are very easy things he's doing. It's just, he's disciplined. When that bell goes off, he doesn't find any excuses. He just goes and does it. And I mean, 30 yards, what has that done for your, so you hit the driver and then you're hitting like 2 or 3 irons less?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Well, I was getting to the point like I was kept there thinking, do I need to play up tees? Do I need to go further up? Not hitting anywhere. And I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. I'm fighting this game that I enjoy and I love the game, but I love the competitive part of the game. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, and I'm in the age group now that I'm playing with guys who are 7, 8, 9, 10 years younger than me or more. And I'm like, okay, and I'm just getting crushed because they're hitting so far past me. Now, yes, they're going to hit it past me, but not that significantly past me.
I think you should move up to the tees and hit it further.
No, and I will. I mean, in tournaments, I get to do that. That's nice. That's a great advantage. But when I'm out there playing and I'm playing against the young guns out there, and instead of getting driven by 60 yards, I'm only getting driven by 30 yards or 20 yards. That's a big deal. That's a huge deal.
And, also with that, probably the last thing here is swinging within control. Mm-hmm. He's got if he wants to hit it, close that gap, he could easily do it, but he's just trying to find the fairway with
this. I mean, there's always the game within the game that, you swing 80% or whatever it is. And we don't have to go there in this podcast, but it's a controlled swing.
You basically just built a bigger engine.
Well, and that's the biggest thing. You learn how to ramp it up and then bring it back, but that ramping it up is higher. So whereas I ramp it up to 100, I could ramp it up to 100 miles an hour before. Now I can ramp it up to 110 miles an hour, but I can always bring it back.
Well, my point with that is he's actually probably swinging it a lot easier than he was before he started this, which is easier on the body.
100%. So we're going to wrap up this week's podcast, but I want to make sure that you guys understand this, that I would strongly suggest if you're looking to get into this, number one, you can always contact Chris. He'll point you in the right direction. That's, you want to give me your email address?
Chris H at gravesgolf.com.
Right. So Chris H as in Henning, or Chris H.
Chris
has hit it a long way. Chris H at gravesgolf.com. You can always contact Tim. He'll help you point you in the right direction. But the biggest thing I'm going to tell you guys to do is get on our single plane on demand app. Get access to it. You can call, if you don't have access, you can contact Chris and we'll help you get access to it. But get on our single plane on demand app. Number one, it's got over 10,000 hours of instruction on it. That's number one. But number two is go to the fitness and flexibility portion of it. Look at that. It's a great place to start. Just to see the basic. It's literally the TPI we talked about at the beginning of the podcast into the single plane TPI. So you're not going to get that anywhere else, any place else, nothing better. You cannot do it. Because if you go to take general TPI that we got trained on, there's a lot of stuff in that doesn't relate to us. The spinning and the twisting and the lifting that doesn't relate to us. And we wouldn't put that in any of our students or any of our methodology. But this is 100% TPI to the single plane. And then go through that. And then you can always contact Chris or do more work through that. Start following our fast forward training program. But I want to throw this to Chris and then I'm going to say it to myself. I'm going to say it like Chris end with this, but is keep doing it.
Yeah.
Don't stop. You want to end with that?
Yeah. Never stop. And you may be discouraged at first, but just keep going. And you're going to get better and better and better. Like he can almost put his palms on the ground now.
Right. Which was shocking. I couldn't get down to my socks at first.
Another 3 months and he'll be able to do it.
Yeah. We'll see. That's all to mention. So, all right, Chris. Well, appreciate you joining me this week. And guys at home, we'll talk to you guys real soon.